So here we are on the very edge of England and Scotland. Now, depending on where you've parked your car in this car park, you'll either be in England or Scotland. Now here's a sculpture at the start of the walk. Now I think this was designed and made by Stephen Lunn, who's a Northumbrian blacksmith and artist, and it represents one of the wild Cheviot goats, and in its mouth there are some freshwater mussels. Now I'm not sure what to make of the mussels. Maybe it's trying to represent the hills and the coast of Northumberland, but I do know that I like it. It's a very elegant sort of sculpture. Although Mountain Hopper 57's just seen it and he's just said it's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Well, I disagree. Hi, it's Graham here, and I've been lucky enough to get myself out on another wild camp, and I really do feel lucky because due to the pressure of work it's been a couple of months since I've been out. So here I am exploring this little moor on the edge of England, and as usual I'm not out by myself. I'm out once again with the semi-legendary master of the tarp and bivvy, Mountain Hopper 57 himself.
Hello there.
There's the man. There's a lovely view of Catclough Reservoir from here. Absolutely beautiful. It's a gorgeous place. You can tell we're nearly in Scotland because this is the biggest thistle I've ever seen. It's taller than I am. We've climbed a bit now and there's an absolutely stunning view of the Cheviots. And all the way around there is Catclough Reservoir. Now if you look at this way is north. So from here it looks, and there's the border where those cars are, so it looks like the Cheviots are in Scotland from this angle, but of course the border goes up diagonally to the northeast, so the border goes right through the Cheviots. So we're circumnavigating Carter Pike now, and that's what I want to get up to. Just up here is Carter Pike, and I don't think I'm going to camp there tonight. I just want to get up and have a look at that big cairn structure, and then go on further, maybe to explore those waterfalls and the cliffs, or the crags rather. Did somebody lose a hat here? Onward and upward. This little bit here is short but steep. We're going that slow that Adrian's activity watch keeps telling me that he's stopped, when he's actually still walking. But I can't take the mickey because I'm going slower than he is. So I think the summit cairn looks fantastic, this structure here. It's nicely rounded and it fits in with the landscape, and it all looks like it's been constructed drywall. There's no cement or anything in it, so it's just been beautifully constructed. And you've got this seat around here that you could, I guess if you camped in this spot you could cook on it, or you could find, whichever way the wind was going, you could find shelter from it. There's the summit just there again, and we're going to crack on though. We don't intend camping there. We're going to see if we can explore a bit more of the moor. The weather's really turned, folks, and it's absolutely baking, and I'm going to have a bit of whinge because it makes it quite hard going. It's really still quite damp underfoot. With the baking sun, it's made it really humid today, and I'm not sure I've brought enough water actually. I've got 1.5 litres plus 1 can of beer. But the good thing is Adrian has been sent a water filter to test from a company, so I might well gain from that. You see what I mean about being boggy underfoot still? Oh, quite a boggy area this. We've hit a little ravine called Green Clough here, and we're still having trouble finding somewhere to camp. I think there's enough water here that we can filter it or boil it. I think we'll be okay from that aspect, but I'd like to find somewhere to pitch a tent as well. So I do want to mention somebody. I was walking the dog, and I bumped into a fellow who stopped us, and named Albert Duffy, and he watches the channel, so I stopped and had a bit of chat, had a bit of crack on, and thoroughly nice gentleman. I met him and his good lady wife, and then he bought me a coffee afterwards on the bar me a coffee thing. So thanks very much, Albert Duffy, that was very nice of you. And also thanks to Ken Phillips as well, who bought me a coffee, and Sean C. Thanks lads, much appreciated. So we found these little crags here, and it looks a cracking little place to get a little snug camp or a bivvy in. But the only thing that's putting us off is the grass is pretty long here, and you know, I could lose a tent peg, and who knows what sort of little beasties are crawling around in there. But it's a shame, because there's little rocks like this that will provide a great little table for your cooking and stuff. We may come back to here, but we're going to hike further down the path to where it looks like there's cottagey ruins, or at least foundations on the map, and see if there's anywhere to camp down there. But I'm hedging me bets. I am going to leave the rucksack here, and we'll hike on without them. We've spotted the waterfall on the map, and it's like, looks like miles away over there. Really hard to reach down a ravine and up again. So we're not going to be heading for the waterfall. I can just about see it from here, and that's enough for me. There's the little square on the map that I saw, and it's just the outline of a remote ruined cottage, and I guess it's built above the burn there on a little bit of flat land, but I can't imagine how remote this must have been back in the day. There is nothing here at all. And we've just found the second ruin, the second little square on the map, and here it is. This is the remains of a cottage here. And that big, long, straight stone there, I guess, was probably a lintel or something like that. And you can just make out the outlines, but blimey, there's not much left. And you know, I see little places like this, and my mind just wanders to who lived here and why it was abandoned, and what the life was like here, and who lived here last, and who was born here. There's all these little fascinating bits of micro history that, you know, you can never really find the answers to. You can just ponder on them. And it looks like these two stones here were part of a doorway, and that's the lintel stone that was above them, all tumbled down now years ago. What a beautiful remote little place. Amazing. The ruined cottage here is full of beautiful little purple flowers, and I don't know what they are. I'd love to say they were saxifrage, but I'm not that knowledgeable. I'll show you a photo and see if you know what they are. My Garmin watch has just given me an alarm. It says storm alert. I hope it's just being oversensitive. It feels incredibly remote here. You know, all we found are abandoned cottages and overgrown quad tracks. I think a lot of people probably go to Carter Pike and don't go any further. But with a bit of exploration, it's been lovely down here, but we haven't found anywhere obvious to camp. So we're going to head back to those little crags that we found. They're not named on the map, so I can't really tell you where they are. But actually, I'm now tempted to hike all the way back to Carter Pike and camp on there and make the most of the views. So I might end up doing that. I've got a new tent to try tonight. It's the Gram Counter VLT, with VLT standing for very light tent. It's a trekking pole tent, hence I've got my trekking poles with us. And it's unusual in that it's a single skin tent, and I'm still not convinced that single skin tents are great for Northumberland. You know, with condensation, it could be a real issue. So I'm going to pitch it tonight, try and ventilate it as well as possible, and see what I think about it. I've never stayed in it before, so I'm quite excited to try it. And it was a tent that my good lady bought me for Christmas that I asked for, and this is the first time end of July that I've had a chance to try it. Well, we're back at the summit of Carter Pike now, and what a slog to get here. It was just hot and sweaty, and it was my idea. This whole trip it's my gig. I've planned it, and Adrian's been ready to hit us with his walking pole because he found it tough going as well. But he's forgiven us now that we're here, because it is a lovely pitch. And I'm just gonna have a drink of water now with some Cadbury's chocolate Oreos. Cadbury's Dairy Milk Oreo. Gonna be glad of that. I didn't bring a cup with us tonight, so Adrian's just made me a coffee. I strongly suspect it's because he's a gentleman. Does his best to hide it, mind.
Well, in your case, time for a poo. I'll see you in 2.
That's right. Pretty light compared to what it is, yeah. And it comes with its own poles as well, which is huge.
Still only just over a kilo.
Yeah.
I should put it this way a bit. That's it, look at that.
Oh, there's a rock right there. Right, yeah. So this is my Gram Counter Gear VLT tent. There's the logo right there. And to be fair, this is probably as good as I've ever pitched it. I've never pitched it in anger. This is the first time I've had it out. You can see it only takes one trekking pole to pitch on the inside, but if you've got a second trekking pole, then it really lifts this side up and gives you a lot more space inside. And I think space inside is important because it's a single skin. You could get pretty wet in here with condensation. So we'll see what it's like tonight. Let's have a look inside. So this is what it looks like with the door tied back, and ideally I'd like to sleep in it with the door tied back all night to try and prevent condensation. It's got a little vent at the head end here and a little bit of ventilation at the bottom end. But for me, it hasn't got quite enough ventilation for a single skin, which is why, weather permitting, I'll try and sleep with it open like that. Or even if you had one more pole or a branch, you could put a guy line on the door and have the door out over here, but raised like a bit of a tarp sort of thing. But we'll see what it's like tonight. I'm quite excited to try it out. But I'm under no illusions, under the wrong conditions, you could end up wetter than a flamingo's foot in there. So we'll see how it goes. So folks, I have to say I'm very impressed with how Adrian's configured his tarp tonight. He calls it a mushroom configuration, and he's been looking for a solution to having a tarp high up on the fells where there's loads of wind, and he thinks he's found the answer here. So it's got 4 long peg out points on the corners, and it's raised in the centre with a walking pole, and there's a little walking pole at the front here making a bit of a door. And depending on, you know, if the wind changes, you could just take that pole down and stick it on either side and have the side the wind comes at a bit lower. And this is a 3x3 tarp, and it's provided absolutely tons of room inside. He's not in there at the minute, so let's have a quickie sneaky look in. I mean, there's his hunker bivvy at the far end, and there's an absolute ton of space in there. I reckon, you know, if you're out with your family, you needed shelter, you could fit 4 people in there very, very comfortably. And Adrian said, you know, if you're going to camp and you want like a bit of a social area, if it's raining so you can sit and have a brew with your mates, then carrying an ultralight tarp like this could be a good solution. I found this, what I think is a sheep's vertebrae here, and you can see the pad where the disc would have sat, and the vertebral foramen and the spinous process, and it's got one transverse process left. The other one's snapped off. At least I hope it's a sheep's. It's got to be a sheep's. Nothing fancy for my bait tonight, folks. I've got some burgers from Lidl's. I didn't have the time to go to the farm shop, so I got the best burgers I could find, and these are dry aged beef for 21 days made with bone marrow, so they'll be tasty but not much good for vegetarians. And I'm going to fry them up in a bit of rapeseed oil, and I've just bashed up some rosemary and garlic and put it in the oil yesterday, so it'll be nicely infused. Oh, blown away. I did have some squares of that, you know, that square cheeseburger cheese. To have a really pair of dirty cheeseburgers, but I left the cheese at home, so I'm gonna have to make do with Rocket and British Army chili sauce. Do you know what though? No complaints. Hi folks, I've got a beer review to do, and this is a Pacific Breeze West Coast IPA. It's 5.4% and it's from Lidl's. It's very hoppy and floral, and I'm also getting a sense of the end of the Pleistocene era, when the great glaciers that covered northern Europe are gradually melting and retreating, and the tundra is being colonised by birch and hazel. And in the early morning light, in that new dawn, you see mammoths close by, their flanks steaming in the early morning frigid air. And onion bargees. It's nice, I like it. The sun's just set, folks, so it's not dark yet at all. But I love the way the sun rotates around the earth, you know, it makes my day. The midges are still annoying, and I've had soaking wet boots and wet socks for most of the day after exploring the moor, because some bits of it were really boggy, and it's actually still boggy up here on the summit. But I hope this tent's got a decent hydrostatic head on the bottom so it doesn't soak through. But I'm just going to finish my beer, listen to an episode of Sasquatch Chronicles on my podcasts, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Dreams last night. I dreamt I was a traditional milk bottle detective, and I don't even know what that is, but it seemed to be quite important because I carried a gun as part of my job. And then I got involved with setting up an outward bound centre that hadn't really operated before, and in the morning I got involved with an argument with some nasty old man because some equipment that ran on meths had been left to run all night. I don't think that was my fault. But then he pulled out a gun, so I pulled out my gun, and it turns out that the guns that traditional milk bottle detectives are given as part of the job, they don't really shoot real bullets. All this gun did was made his arms turn purple. You'd think that wouldn't be much use in a gunfight, but it really seemed to slow him down. And then I woke up. Don't know what the heck that means. The weather's been a bit weird as well, especially for Northumberland. I've managed to sleep with this, well, essentially huge vent open all night. There's been no precipitation and very little wind, like nothing, really still, eerily still. And it's 5:05 now, and the wind's picking up a little bit, as you might be able to hear, but I think that's good. It'll keep the midges off when we pack up this morning. I hope we'll be packed away and off the hill by 6. like these early starts because it means you can get up and get away and have more of the day, and you're off the hill before you bump into people who might not want you there, you know. It's an absolutely gorgeous morning, folks. The mist is just rising from the hills over here, and we can still see the Cheviots over there, sort of like in colours of blue and grey. Absolutely beautiful. But thanks for coming along last night, and I'll see you on the next one.